Hey everyone. Welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. All the juicy details are coming up right here, so settle in. And if you want more stories like this, make sure you subscribe and share before we dive in. Thank you for being here. For weeks, Cemre Arda had been a hush of rumor and a question mark in the headlines, refusing to feed the gossip machine about her private life. The actress, known for keeping a tight lid on anything resembling a confession, finally cracked that door open. Not with a press release, not with a staged photo op, but with an unexpectedly raw spill of emotion among people who thought they already knew everything about her. She did not just hint, she laid out the truth she had carried in silence. Time, she said, has a way of sanding down pride until what is left is the thing you miss most. Loss, she admitted, can be the hardest teacher. And then, with the kind of courage that turns whispers into storms, she said she wants Gawkberg back in her life. That single revelation snaked its way through feeds and group chats in minutes, rewriting the entire night. Everyone remembered how Cemre and Gawkberg first captured hearts on screen, how their chemistry spilled off the set and made believers out of cynics. They were adored, a duo that defined a certain era of television romance. And then, one day, they weren't. Their breakup had felt abrupt from the outside, like a door shut in the middle of a sentence. No one got closure. Now her words felt like a key slid back into that forgotten lock. Sources close to Cemre call it the bravest step she has taken in years. They say she is done treating her heart like a prop to be stored between takes. She wants to hear what it has been trying to tell her since the day everything fell apart. One friend, someone who has watched Cemre cycle through work, silence, and late-night reassessments, put it bluntly, she believes their story did not finish, it just paused. She is ready to swallow her pride, they said. She is ready to retrace her steps. She wants to fix what she helped break. And suddenly every camera turned toward Gawkberg. He has not responded. Not a cryptic caption, not a like, not a fleeting comment at a premiere. Those who have seen him recently say the shock is real. He did not expect to hear his name spoken by her in that way ever again, least of all with such clarity and tenderness. But silence in these moments is rarely empty. It is a hallway before a door opens or a storm before the first strike of lightning. Whether his quiet means restraint, hesitation, or deliberation is the puzzle that fans and media are now trying to solve. The rumor engines did not take long to rev. Industry chatter claims that Cemre and Gawkberg might be seen in the same room sooner than anyone expected. An unplanned encounter? A carefully arranged conversation away from prying eyes? The stories are multiplying. If a meeting really is on the horizon, then this is not just a headline anymore. It is the first page of whatever comes next. And that suspense, waiting to see if the air will crackle or clear, is giving fans the kind of collective adrenaline they have not felt in ages. Social media, unsurprisingly, has split itself into two camps. For some, time softens edges and makes forgiveness not only possible but necessary. They argue that a love that big, that visible, does not just evaporate, and that second chances exist for a reason. Others warn that going back means reopening wounds that never fully healed, that the past holds its own gravity and every return has a cost. The debate is loud, passionate, and relentless. Yet beneath it all is one undeniable truth. Everyone is watching for signs. Will this story be rewritten, or will it remain a cherished, unfinished memory? Cemre's confession is not just a personal headline. It reframes her career image in a way that no new role could do alone. She has long played the part of the self-possessed woman who never fumbles, on screen and off. Admitting what she longs for cuts through that polish and reveals something more fragile, more human. Those who've worked beside her say this vulnerability has been sitting under the surface for a long time, shaping her choices without ever announcing itself. On set, there were days she drifted. She would stare at a mark and seem to be somewhere else entirely. One co-star summed it up quietly. Her heart seemed to be stuck in a chapter she never let herself finish. She learned to go through the motions, but the echoes never left. As the buzz swirls, the attention keeps circling back to Gawkberg. He has kept his world tight, tight enough that even the tabloids are guessing. Friends say being named in Cemre's confession shook him more than he let on. There is no playbook for this. He is not performing a character now, he is deciding whether the past can be a safe place to revisit. People close to him say he has been replaying old scenes, the humble ones nobody saw, the tired lunches after night shoots, the ordinary laughter, the arguments that taught them too late what mattered most. Maybe the quiet is not indifference. Maybe it is the weight of what a single answer could change. And then came another layer of rumor, a project, a reunion of craft before any promise of reconciliation. The whispers say their teams have been talking. A script that would put them in the same frame, the same breath, the same silence. If this happens, the personal will collide with the professional in a way that could ignite or implode. Their fans are practically willing it into existence, flooding casting pages with comments and sending late-night wish lists into the void. Everyone who remembers what they did with a glance wants to see what they might do now with an entire scene. Cemre's core message still reverberates everywhere. She wants Gawkberg back in her life. It is the clearest thing she has said about love since their split, and it carries a kind of unguarded hope that is rare in this industry. Maybe it is courage. Maybe it is surrender. Maybe it is both. What matters is that she is done pretending that the distance did not leave a hollow space where something meaningful used to live. The question is whether that space can be filled by the same person who left it behind. Hashtags have bloomed like wildflowers across timelines. Supporters write that love matures in the dark and returns wiser. Skeptics counter that some endings protect the people inside them. Old clips of their interviews are resurfacing. The way she watched him speak without interrupting. The way he shifted his shoulders when she reached for his arm. Fans catalog details the way only fans can. They look for proof, for signs they might have missed. They build a map of gestures and glances and trace it back to this moment, where longing is finally named aloud. Inside Cemre's inner circle, the tone is more intimate and sober. They talk about a threshold she crossed inside herself, one she had approached many times but never stepped over. Years of unspoken sentences, of letting work drown out the private ache, have led to this sharp clarity. She did not come to it lightly. She did not arrive here for publicity. Those closest to her insist that this is about peace, about telling the story of her life to herself without skipping the chapters that hurt. Even on set, the shift was noticeable. She was quieter but more present. Her work had a new texture, like she had stopped holding her breath. A friend put it in one simple line: she has lived with a missing piece long enough. She is ready to stop pretending the outline is enough. And still, Gawkberg does not speak. But every move he makes is watched. The cafe he chooses. The friend he meets. The driver he calls. The smallest choices become symbols because in the absence of words, people read what they can find. Reporters argue over hints. Did he smile when her name came up? Did he look away? Did he linger in a neighborhood he once shared with her? The truth is simpler and harder. The next step will not be accidental. It will be chosen, and once it's chosen, there will be no taking it back. Meanwhile, the industry keeps humming, and so does the possibility of a shared project. Meetings are rumored. Scripts are passed back and forth. A director who remembers their early days keeps asking what if. If they accept, the reunion would land like a thunderclap. Every scene would be read for subtext. Every pause would become a paragraph. Eyes would burn with the question everyone is asking: is this acting or confession by other means? What makes this moment so electric is that it does not just belong to them, it belongs to the audience that believed, to the people who carried their story around like a lucky charm long after the curtains fell. Cemre's courage to speak puts everything back in motion. It gives permission to hope and to fear at the same time. It turns a dormant rumor into a living decision. But this is not a fairy tale, and both of them know it. Time changes people. It also changes how they fit together. Cemre has learned to be strong without being hard. Gawkberg has learned to choose his quiet carefully. If they meet, it will not be with the innocence of their beginning but with the knowledge of what went wrong. That knowledge can be the glue that holds or the wedge that splits. The only honest test is to stand in front of each other and see what their hearts do. Fans are bracing for news because that is what we do when a storyline keeps us awake. We make space for possibilities. We rehearse the outcomes. We picture the first smile, the awkward first hello, the guarded jokes, the moment one of them lets out a breath they did not know they were holding. We picture what happens if they decide they are better apart, too. Not every great love is meant to return, and sometimes the bravest thing is to keep walking. But there is something about this pair that makes people root for a rewrite. Cemre's team has been careful, offering no detailed roadmap, only the assurance that she meant every word. She is not trying to stir chaos. She is trying to tell the truth. And once truth enters the room, everything rearranges itself. You cannot unknow what you know. You cannot unhear a heart naming itself. There is talk, of course, about how all of this echoes through her roles. Viewers who have watched her embody fierce independence are now looking for the scenes where tenderness wins. They say she looks different on camera, not weaker but more open, like she has let warmth in again. It is the kind of shift you cannot fake. It shows up in the hands, in the eyes, in the pauses between words. And what of him? The best guesses say he is doing exactly what he should, thinking, remembering, measuring. People forget that silence is sometimes an act of respect, a way to keep something sacred while you decide. A single sentence from him could flip the narrative. But the right sentence, at the right time, is worth the wait. Somewhere along the way, work and love tangled themselves into one thread. If the project rumor turns solid, if they sign on the same dotted line, then both of those worlds will collide in front of us. It will be a test of professionalism and a study in intimacy. Their audience will swarm to it, not for gossip alone but for the rare chance to witness two people telling a story that might also be their own. For now, Cemre's words hang in the air, steady and unambiguous. She wants Gawkberg back in her life. Whether that becomes a beginning or a brave goodbye depends on what happens next. What cannot be denied is that she has stepped out of the quiet and into her truth. The media will keep circling. The fans will keep guessing. The people at the center will keep breathing until the moment arrives and the decision is made. We will be watching, just like you, for the flicker of change. A sighting. A statement. A shared frame. Or maybe simply a shift in the way they move through their separate days. Sometimes the first sign is small, a familiar laugh, a hand not withdrawn, a doorway left open. And sometimes the first sign is a headline we have all been waiting to read. That brings us to the end of today's story. If you want to stay ahead of what happens between Cemre, Arda and Gawkberg Yildirim, on set, off set, and everywhere in between, make sure you're subscribed to Secrets Behind the Stars and share this video with someone who remembers how this all began. Until next time, we'll keep our ears to the ground and our eyes on the moments that matter most.